Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, was written and directed by Rob Hedden of The Commish, MacGyver, and the Friday the 13th series. It opened in theaters on July 28, 1989, to a domestic box office of $6,251,310, bringing in a total box office of $14,343,976. Yes, this was the last of the great 80s horror movies, in my estimation. It was the 9th entry of the franchise in this decade alone. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my review of Jason Takes Manhattan.
Fallen angels lead to the street. It's an empty dance.
So Friday the 13th, Part 8, not one of the strongest entries in this franchise, ladies and gents. Financially, at the very low end of the spectrum. It was, like I said, the tail end of the 80s, where the horror style was kind of getting ready to make a shift into this 90s, and the franchise was getting ready to take a step forward after going on break for a few years and coming back with Jason Goes to Hell. It really left the franchise on a good note, in my estimation. Now, this movie's controversial because the title is called Jason Takes Manhattan, but Jason doesn't get to Manhattan until the last 15 to 20 minutes of the movie. And they had so much more planned, but due to budgetary, they couldn't use Madison Square Garden and all the other things they wanted to do. I think it would have been funny to see Jason at the Met, things of the like, you know, some great like tour spots like Jason in Central Park. Like I honestly would have died. The Seinfeld Central Park thing. George is out digging in Central Park. And, you know, the homeless people are out there digging holes, like Jerry said. Well, it would have been funny to see somebody in a hockey mask, and George just freaks out and runs away. But no, this was a great movie. Like I said, this wasn't a great movie, but it was a fun movie. A lot of great death scenes. We're going to run through the 13 deaths in this movie soon enough, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm going to talk about the plot a little bit first. I know you're like, it's a Friday the 13th movie. What plot is there? Well, we'll run through the major characters. I'll give you my thoughts on the story, and then we'll go into the death scenes. Our movie starts out in Crystal Lake, Jim and Susie on the yacht, and we get, Jason offs those two quickly in the boats as his means of conveyance to get to the dock, to get to the cruise ship, to make his way to Manhattan, whilst chasing Rennie, our heroine of the film, which it's kind of tied together later on through some exposition with her and Charles McCulloch, who is not only her uncle and her legal guardian, but also one of the school teachers. And he has a contentious relationship with Colleen, who is another colleague of his, another teacher, whom Rennie kind of sees. You can tell she sees her as kind of a mentor, almost like a mother figure, which that theme, it's not really expanded upon very much, briefly here and there through the movie, but it's Friday the 13th, and the only character development we really get is for Rennie. So as Rennie is getting ready to board the boat, she receives a present from Sean, who is the son of the admiral on the ship that they're traveling on, the Lazarus. And of course, Charles is trying to stay in between those two, doesn't want her to get too close to anybody, obviously, because that's what the story needs him to do, because he's the dickhead uncle and he's a teacher and he's kind of greasy. And that's basically the only character development we get for him, other than he's cowardly, which is kind of a throwback to the psychiatrist played by the gentleman who was Bernie in Weekend at Bernie's, who was, the same kind of manipulative, overbearing, protective, but for his own means to an end, personality type, who ended up, meeting a very brutal demise because of his own cowardice. So that's basically the same kind of character we have with Charles McCulloch in this. Colleen is the caring, quote unquote, surrogate mother figure that we had, but at the same time, like I said, we don't really get much more outside of her and Charles butt heads on how Rennie needs to be treated like an adult. And then Rennie inexplicably brings her dog on the fucking cruise ship too, which I never really understood. I'm just like, yeah, because when I was going on my senior trip, what I really want to do is take my fucking dog, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense, especially on a cruise ship. And then what are you going to do with the dog? Who's going to take care of it when you're out in Manhattan? You're going to take the dog? It made no sense. So, and the plot needed it to happen, but it doesn't really ever serve any purpose except for one little jump scare at the end of the movie. So pretty much the whole movie is kids getting killed off on the boat one by one in very cool ways, very creative ways. And it was fun to watch. You've got, the the lava rock in the sauna is my favorite, probably second favorite death scene in this movie, next to Julius the boxer, which we'll get to in the countdown. But so yeah, these kids get bumped off one by one on the ship, as does the crew of the ship. We see deckhands, the admiral, I guess it would be his vice admiral, get killed. And, it just goes down the chain. And Tamara's death is really great because she lays in the shower and, she's hiding in the bathroom. He breaks through the door, punches through the door. She hides in the shower and then, gets knifed with a piece of glass from the mirror that Jason broke, which it was a cool sequence. It was. And Tamara was kind of that, she had it coming kind of character. Much the same way in the young lady's name eludes me from part 7, the one who was obviously trying to make Tina look bad in part 7, opens the door, axe to the forehead. Tamara was basically that kind of character. A minor antagonist to Jason's major antagonist. She was there to be a foil for Rennie. She pushed Rennie over the ship at one point. Rennie's afraid of water. This is the development we get for Rennie. She's afraid of water because Charles threw her into a boat when she was a kid to teach her how to swim. And that's after he told her Jason lived under the lake because they were on Crystal Lake inexplicably for some reason. And he threw her over the boat, and Jason was pulling her down. He said he drowns kids that don't know how to swim. It's like, boy, oh boy, if every adult taught their kid how to swim like this, we'd have a bunch of Michael Phelpses running around because nobody would want to get fucking dragged to the bottom of the lake by a serial killer who drowned as a child. No, we get, stock 80s characters, very one-dimensional. JJ and Wayne. JJ, she's one of the cooler characters, like the punk rock chick. She gets killed in the engine room. You have, like I said, Tamara and Eve. Eve is she's played by Kelly Hu, very smart, but trying to fit in and be popular and hang out with Tamara at the same time. She meets her end in a very neat sequence that is set inside the dance club, which the dance club scene, the song was changed from, it was a Prince song originally, and then it got switched to, in the DVD release, to a generic copyright, a free song, obviously. They probably didn't want to pay the rights for a Prince song, which, it's kind of funny considering they used it originally. So yeah, it's a fun movie. As far as Friday the 13th movies go, like I said, the death sequences are inventive and fun. Enough character development on Rennie to, kind of attach you to her. Same thing with Sean. You can tell there's a burgeoning relationship there, which, like I said, by the end of the movie, these two are, a couple, but they never go anywhere else with them. They're gone from the series after this. Like, they're never to be seen or heard from again. Pretty much the way that after each movie, the characters were, except for, Tommy Jarvis in the first few. But then they took Tommy out of it, and it was like Womp Stomp Productions that did Never Hike Alone, Never Hike in the Snow. They did it right. I really enjoyed that, how they brought Tom Matthews in. So the franchise has been kept alive by fan films, as we know, because of the rights issues, which just went back to Victor Miller after that court proceedings against Sean S. Cunningham, the original director. And for me, it's better that it's in Victor Miller's hands moving forward, because Sean Cunningham was the one that had the idea to take off the mask. And if you want to see an interview with the director from Friday the 13th, Part 9, Jason Goes to Hell, go over to my brother Fanzine's channel. He did an interview with, I believe it's Josh Marcus, who directed Part 9, and he's actually friends with Cunningham's son. And Cunningham told him he wanted the mask gone. So this movie, we get to see Jason's face in the end, which is really neat because he takes his mask off. There's obviously the scenes in New York, him breaking through the diner, killing that massive cook, just pressing him against the glass. Throws him. We have the scene with the punks on the street. Jason walks by, kicks the boombox. They all pull their knives out. He unmasks, and then they all run away. And I was kind of shocked that he didn't kill him, but he was obviously laser focused on killing Rennie and Sean. So there, like I said, you have the toxic waste death scene as well. Best Friday the 13th movie in the series? No, not at all. It falls somewhere, honestly, towards the bottom for me, even though I really enjoyed it. But objectively speaking, this one goes down towards the bottom of the franchise. It's not Jason Goes to Hell. It's not Freddy vs. Jason. It's not Friday the 13th, the 2010 remake that tried to make Jason into Leatherface, but it's still not up there with the other ones. Part 6 is my favorite Friday the 13th movie ever, of all time. This one is, like I said, it's towards the bottom. I like part 5 more than I like this one because it was in Crystal Lake. You know, even though it wasn't Jason, I still enjoy part 5 more. Probably one of it's one of my least favorites. I have no problem admitting that, but like I said, I can still watch it and enjoy it. The New York scenes in the movie are very cool too. At the end, like I said, the last 15 minutes is all we get in New York, from their arrival at the docks in the rowboat to Julius getting his head punched off on a rooftop after they split up, to Charles getting drowned in a vat of toxic waste, to Colleen exploding in the cop car, the chase scene through the diner, the subway, the streets, the sewer system where the toxic waste flushes through every night at midnight. And I kind of remember correlating that to Ghostbusters too at the time, and going like, well, what's down there? Is it the slime or the toxic waste? What's going on in the sewers of New York? I've never been there before. Never been to New York City, New York State, or anything. But yeah, I was always confused as a kid about that. I'm like, do they really do that? But no, it wouldn't surprise me, seriously. So it was cool. Jason's death in this, with drowning, and then all they see, Rennie and Sean see, is the little boy, which Jason was, from her flashbacks as a kid, from Charles trying to terrify her into being able to swim. So it was kind of different with that whole Jason takes Manhattan, psych, for 15 minutes he takes it left the ending very ambiguous. But part 9, where it picked up, it totally just kind of threw that out the window and started over with this whole new line of storytelling, which I never really cared for. I liked Jason Goes to Hell like the first time I saw it, and then after that I was like, this is not good. This is not good. At first viewing, it was like, oh, cool. And then I was like, I don't like Jason jumping bodies. It doesn't make any sense. Jason is a vengeful spirit of revenge. He's not a entity that goes through and possesses people. I thought they had to eat the heart and stuff. It was ridiculous. But no, this one, ladies and gents, I give out of 5. I'm going to be very generous and give this 2 stars out of 5. Not a great Friday the 13th movie, but fun nonetheless. Mindless fun that's rewatchable just for the sake of, I'm a huge fan of the franchise. It's my favorite horror franchise, so I can rewatch this one. Now, let's get on to the main event. Let's go through all the deaths, shall we? Jim Miller, stabbed in the stomach 9 minutes into the movie. Number 2, Susie Donaldson, stabbed in the chest at 11 minutes in. J.J. Jarrett, bashed in the head with her guitar. Boxing guy takes a sauna rock through the chest at 30 minutes in. Tamara Mason, stabbed with mirror shards at 39 minutes into the movie, and she deserved it. Jim Carlson, stabbed in the back with a harpoon at 40 minutes in. Admiral Robertson has his throat slit less than a minute later. Eva Watanabe, strangled to death in the dance floor 48 minutes in. Wayne Weber, immediate electrical explosion at 51 minutes in. Miles Wolfe, thrown onto a weather vane at 54 minutes into the movie. Deckhand, axe to the back at 59 minutes. Rapist Gangbanger 1, stabbed through the back with a syringe. Rapist Gangbanger 2, head smashed through a pipe 1 hour and 9 minutes in. Julius Gaw, head punched off 1 hour and 12 minutes in. Police officer killed off screen, strangled 1 hour and 14 minutes in. Colleen Van Duzen, accidentally killed in explosion 1 hour and 16 minutes in. Uncle Charles McCulloch, drowned in a barrel of sewage 1 hour and 21 minutes in. A more deserving death there could not have been. Diner cook, thrown into mirror 1 hour and 28 minutes in. Sanitation engineer, wrenched to the head 1 hour and 31 minutes. And that's the end, says Jason. Oh yeah, and 50 minutes into the movie, dumbass Wayne accidentally shot one of the crew members right before he was killed by Jason. So there we have it, 19 deaths all in all in this movie, 20 if you count Jason, because let's face it, at this point he was pretty much dead at the end of this movie, right, wrong. No, 19 deaths, decent body count. I believe part 5 had the highest, and I think it was 21, but that wasn't Jason, that was Roy the ambulance driver, so we have that. overall, this movie, like I said earlier, I enjoyed it. It's fun to watch over just because it's so campy. You know you're not going to get to Manhattan until there's 15 minutes left of the movie. And then they didn't get to use the big, Madison Square Garden and some of the set pieces they wanted to use, but it was still fun to see kind of the touches of New York, used in the movie, which, like I said, if we got him at like a Knicks game or something like that, or at the Met, would have been so much better. But it's 1989. It was a Friday the 13th movie. They didn't have the budget to warrant, spending that much money on individual set pieces when the return on investment simply wasn't there, because this movie was, by all accounts, a financial failure. But still a success in the eyes of the fans of the franchise, people like myself who just want more good Jason, and by good Jason, I don't need some, Oscar-winning script. No, I want a lot of death, gratuitous sex, gratuitous drug use, and non-redeemable characters that are going to be fun to watch get killed off. Because that was the fun of these campy 80s slasher movies. The overarching theme of the Friday the 13th series was a lot of death, a lot of creative ways to kill these kids off. And yeah, it was just fun. It was a fun series, a fun time. Something that the 2010 version completely failed to capture in all its shortcomings and misgivings. And Jason Goes to Hell and Freddy vs. Jason was such a mess. Do I still like Freddy vs. Jason? Yes, because it was a dream as a kid to see these two horror titans, facing off against each other like Hogan and the Giant, Sting and Flair, no. Tyson and Holyfield, but no, it was always fun to watch these movies. And I own, the first 8, the ones that matter, and the rest of them can go to hell with Jason. No, I'm Itepo Kui, man. I hope you enjoyed this. This is a holdover from last year, so we're going to go right into the Phantasm series starting later this week. Thursday, you get Batwoman. Saturday, you will get Phantasm 1. And then I will have these out all before the end of the month. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this review. All my previous Friday the 13th reviews are in a playlist on the channel. And this goes out to everybody that says I'm just negative. I'm not. When I get to talk about something that I enjoy like this, exuberance, baby. Sheer exuberance. I'm Itepo Kui, into the place to be reviews. If I have earned your subscription, press the red button. You know how to do. Also, be sure to smack that like button on the way out. Share the video. Do all the YouTube things. And remember, if I don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow. I'll catch you on the next one. And it's always better to burn out than fade away.